For all of you watching at home, remember to go to tlacult.com for the best and worst in cult, horror, and exploitation DVDs.
Have a great fucking day.
And our first movie we're going to talk about tonight is the 1980 Italian film by Lucio Fulci, City of the Living Dead, a.k.a. The Gates of Hell. You like how I added the hell in there, Goop?
Yeah, and then the dramatic pause.
I know. I'm trying to practice for my life as a PR person if this doesn't work out. But for those of you that have not seen this movie, and shame on you if you haven't, a reporter and a psychic race to close the gates of hell after the suicide of a clergyman caused him to open. This is clergyman. I copied that from IMDb. What's a clergyman? Do you know what the
A priest.
Okay, why don't you just say priest? That makes no sense. Either way, okay, as I was saying there, okay, clergyman caused the gates of hell to open, which is allowing the dead to rise from the grave. Okay. That is the layman terms here. That's the simple way of putting it. But as you watch this movie, you'll probably realize that there's a lot of stuff just out of left field.
Oh yeah, and to back up what you got there saying, I think it's against the law to say priest and hanging in the same sentence.
Is it really?
No, but it just sounded.
Oh, that's twice, Goo.
Damn, I'm good.
Why am I so gullible this week?
Hey. It's because my acting. My acting's so damn good.
That's what it is. We're going to give you an Oscar.
Oh, I want one.
And a Grammy all at the same time. But, man, what I want to know is, and maybe you can help me out with this. Okay, when I first seen City of the Living Dead, I wasn't blown away by it.
Right.
It wasn't something that just completely blown me away. But now, after seeing it again, I liked it better. But what I don't understand, though, is why... when this priest hangs himself, does it open the gates of hell? What's so special about this guy?
I really don't know. I mean, unless they're saying, like that Dunwich town, they're saying it's like Salem, whatever, the witch is whatever. I guess because of that day, that certain day, that priest, I think he kind of knew that would happen. So that's kind of sacrilegious a little bit if you think of it.
Oh yeah. And it's got the same chick that's been, I don't know, like she was
Katrina, I can't ever think of her last name, Patrol or
and I know she was in The Beyond. She was in House by the Cemetery. And it seems like he really just likes to have her beat up in these movies. Have you noticed? And her character, I want to touch on this real quick. This is real early in the movie. Okay, they're having a little seance, right?
Yep.
And she appears to be foaming at the mouth or something during this, and I just think that's nasty. There's a lot of nasty stuff that happens in this movie. And she drops over, and she's pronounced dead.
Yeah.
Okay, she's not just pronounced dead, she is buried.
Yes. Okay,
and of course, then our other little hero guy comes along, and he hears her, and he gets her out, and he almost kills her getting her out of the box, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
That scene is so drawn out with suspense.
It's drawn out a little too much, I think.
Yeah, I mean it's overdone because you're like, oh god, he ain't gonna hear, So she's clawing away, and he's like, oh, I hear an airplane, and like, oh god, and then she acts like she's dead, and then you see how turning back. It just keeps on going.
He's like, I hear her. No, I don't.
Yeah.
I hear her. No, I don't. I hear her.
No.
No, I don't. No, I hear her. No. Okay, yeah, I do. And if you think that's annoying, that's exactly how it is in the movie.
Yeah, it's literally like that.
And I don't know, I've never had to rescue somebody from a casket before. But if I was going to do that, I don't think I'd get one of those little devices that he was using. The name of it, a pickaxe, and drill it in there as hard as I could. Because, come on. If she is alive, if you do it just wrong, and if he's just barely in the movie missed her, you're going to take her out that way.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if he was trying to get her out of the box or make sure she was dead, Goob. I don't know. And another thing, a good thing they didn't embalm her, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, did they ever say why they never did that?
No, but I guess it's one of those, some people ain't going to think too hard in a movie, but, there's some people Us.
I would have thought Fulci would have had like because don't they even touch on that in the movie? Like, ain't there a funeral guy somewhere in this movie too? Or am I getting this confused with another one? I don't know. Either way,
there is a funeral guy.
Yeah.
But it's later on in the movie.
Yeah, so I mean, but they are like showing that they do what they normally do to people once they pass over, but they didn't do that to her. It's just like, Goop is getting attacked on the other end of the.
Killing spiders.
Uh oh. Was it like arachnophobia spiders?
It was pretty damn big.
Oh, gives me the willies. But okay, she drops over to like, okay, just throw her in. We're done with her. Maybe she didn't have insurance. I don't know. But as the film proceeds, random people see the preacher, the ghost of the preacher or whatever, and they look at him.
He's hanging himself.
Oh, yes. And they look at him directly in the eyes, which causes them to not only bleed out the eyes, but throw up every bit of their intestines, which is a pretty bad way to go.
Oh, yeah.
I would assume. Not, back in my old days, but, when I used to party or what, I think I might have threw up my guts a couple of times, but not of that nature. But
it's epic.
It is epic, but, it's like, is it ever really said why? Or is this one of the things where we ain't supposed to wonder why?
I mean, this movie just has a lot of questions. And I don't know if he wanted the movie like that or what. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there's no answer to.
But there is good gore.
Oh, yeah.
And the one scene where the guy gets all mad because somebody's with his daughter, and it really causes a very cool scene in the movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to spoil it if they haven't seen it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Why does he do that?
Well, I think
Is he just mad?
well, the Bob character.
Mm-hmm.
I think he got accused of. I don't want to say. I guess it was statutory rape, maybe.
Yeah.
Like he was with a young girl, so I guess it was, one of those situations.
I guess so. So let that be a lesson to everybody out there.
Do you feel a little bit of this is some straight edge. There's some straight edgeness going on in this movie.
Maybe so, because if you do something that us straight edgers don't do, something bad usually happens.
Yeah. Okay. Bob's in the car, and the girl comes out in the garage. She's like, "Oh, Bob, what are you doing here?" He's like, "Oh, I'm sleeping." She's like, "Oh, let's smoke this joint."
Mm-hmm.
So bad stuff happens. And then at the bar, they're sitting there like, "Oh, let's drink a beer." Then the mirror breaks.
Bad stuff happens.
Yeah, and then the wall cracks after he's like, "Let's get another beer." Oh, no, we're straight edge.
Here comes the straight edge ghost zombies. And I can only describe them as ghost zombies. It's like a hybrid of a ghost and a zombie.
Yeah. And another thing is they got some damn upper forearm strength to rip the back of people's heads out into their brain.
They smash their brains with their hands as if you would smash a soda can, with your hand. If you're done drinking it, you just crush it up. That's what they do with the greatest of ease. And that leads. I ain't gonna spoil this, but there is a character that's a pretty important character, and he gets taken out by this near the end in almost one of the most undramatic fashions I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he seems like a more important character than to get took out like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Was you think maybe Fulci was losing it at the time, or do you think it's just this is what Fulci wanted to do just to make things kind of uncommon?
This is purely out of my mind. I think that they shot so many different scenes, and then whoever edited it, like they's like, all right, this goes with it, because there's a lot of holes in the movie.
There is.
Like, I don't understand why you would make the dude that plays the detective in Pieces. He's the reporter in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why make him a main character all the way to the end, and then another guy, kind of steps in to take over his spot a little bit.
And he never seems that important throughout the film. The other guy doesn't. I mean, he's featured, but he doesn't really seem like he's that important.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it was, they...
Or maybe they lost, like, maybe something happened and the guy had to leave the set, real...
It's possible.
I don't know. Or maybe Fulci just being Fulci.
Yeah. But,
You know?
yeah, nonetheless, I mean, I still like the movie, but there's just a lot of questions come up. You know, that's why I had to watch it again.
I watched it again, and like I said, I liked it a little better than I did the first. Like the first time I ever watched this movie, I won't lie. The first time I watched it, I was a little disappointed.
Mm.
You know, I'd watched it. I'd heard everybody talking about it. I love Zombie. I love New York Ripper, all that stuff. And I seen this, and I was like, you know, I don't know. And I really did not really care for it that much. And this time I liked it a little better, but I think I just like the gore.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of odd stuff in this movie. Like, what's those bugs that cover those people at one point in the film?
Oh, those maggots.
Oh, that's maggots? Yeah, that is maggots. I didn't want to say the wrong thing, but it was maggots.
Yeah, but they had to be real. Like whenever there's a scene, like they're all over the floor and on the phone and stuff. Man, they're moving. And they ain't no way they can make something that small. You know.
So can you imagine Fulci like walking up to somebody? I need 50,000 pounds of maggots.
Yeah.
If he's Fulci, you're going to give him the maggots, of course.
Yeah.
But where do you get that many maggots? Do you just leave a bunch of food out for like a month or something?
Probably like going to a slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
And then it's
probably where they got the intestines that they puked up in the movie.
It's possible.
And either way, this movie leads on to them going and trying to close the gates. And after all is said and done, as we were speaking of before we went on the air here, the ending makes no sense at all. And I don't know how we can really get into it without spoiling it, and I don't guess we can, so we'll just be vague with it, Goob.
Yeah.
Is there any logic you can find at all to that?
Well, no. Like I said, I already watched it, and I was like, well, I must have missed something. They must have tried to imply something that I just didn't grasp. So I went back, and the scene that I thought that might have happened,
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. It made sense. Everything from that point on of that character that's at the end of the movie, for everybody that watches, everything is still in line. It makes sense, except that very last scene. I don't know what was trying to be implied.
These people ought to be happy because we used to just spoil everything.
I know.
And now we're being more vague. We're being a little bit more considerate to people because I imagine I never got no complaints, but there's probably some people out there that had a couple of their dreams shattered because of us. This I don't know, Goop. I know. I don't want to say that I dislike it, but I think I mostly just like the weirdness and the gore.
Mm-hmm.
As an actual movie. I think it may be one of the weaker Fulci ones I've seen.
I slightly disagree a little bit with you, just a little bit. Like I think as a movie,
mm-hmm.
I think it goes fairly well. I think like I always say with people just getting into horror, I think people could watch it, and kind of be satisfied with it. But if you're like as the story goes, I think it'd just be a little bit too much for people to quite grasp.
Yeah, so don't go into it thinking very much.
Right.
Yeah, just kind of let what it is be what it is.
Yeah.
And
and it ain't going to explain itself.
Yeah, and you can search online all you want about the ending, and you're not going to find out anything to make you become to any conclusions or make anything any clearer than it is. Just take it for what it is.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, what would you give City of the Living Dead?
I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Well, I'm going just one under you, and I'm giving it a 6, which makes it still very watchable, just not the greatest thing ever.
Right. That's about that's pretty much like how I rate on my like the 7's like the norm for me. Mm-hmm. It's not horrible. It's kind of like mid range.
Yeah, like when I'm doing something like 6 and up, it could be taken from approval of me.
Yeah.
If it's 6, I at least think it's watchable and has some merit. If it goes under that, it's not very good.